Hello, dear followers. Today we will take you on a tour around the world to visit unconventional places that are essentially forbidden for tourists. Only a very few scientists or politicians are allowed to enter these places for various reasons justifying this ban. Some are scientific, some political, and others are closer to fiction than reality. We will move from the east to the west of the Earth to explore these places. Keep your focus, because one of these places will blow your mind. The aliens or extraterrestrials are the heroes once again. So followers, buckle up and get ready for a journey to the most forbidden places for humans. Let's begin. What we will present today might perplex and surprise you, and we will start with North Brother Island in New York, United States. This island is one of the most isolated islands in America, despite being located in the outskirts of the bustling city of New York. However, this island is closed to visitors. The given reason is to protect the different bird species that have taken the island as a safe haven after it was officially closed. But there are hidden reasons that made this island indirectly forbidden for tourists. Perhaps its dark history and what it is infamous for contributed in one way or another to keep visitors away. The story of this island began in 1885, when city authorities bought this island from its owners with the intention of transforming it into a hospital which was later named Riverside Hospital. This hospital was dedicated to treating infectious diseases such as yellow fever, measles, and others, essentially acting as a quarantine center. In 1905, this island witnessed a tragic incident that resulted in the death of over 1,000 people in a passenger ferry fire off its coast. In 1907, a woman named Mary Mallon was admitted to the hospital. However, Mary was not an ordinary patient. Unfortunately, she was the first person in America to be diagnosed with typhoid. The woman, who worked as a cook in homes, caused the infection of 7 families with typhoid. Tests proved that Mary was a carrier of the bacteria causing typhoid fever, and the bigger problem was that Mary appeared to be completely healthy. Mary was released from quarantine in 1910 on the condition that she would not return to her cooking profession. The woman refused to believe she was infected since she showed no symptoms. Thus, she did not adhere to the medical instructions and returned to cooking for families, causing the disaster to spread. The infection spread from the families that relied on Mary's services to neighborhoods and suburbs of the city. As for Mary, she was forcibly returned to isolation in the island's hospital in 1915, especially after she was the cause of transmitting the infection to 25 women in Sloan Hospital for Women. This time, the woman remained in quarantine on the island until her death in 1938 from a severe pneumonia. The hospital was closed for a period and then reopened after World War II to receive wounded fighters in this war, and later it turned into a center for treating drug addicts before it was finally closed in 1963. And the island became an isolated island that no one dares to visit, perhaps out of fear of the dark past it embodies. We now move to Norway, specifically in the area between Norway and the North Pole, where a magnificent engineering building stands out, attracting the attention of anyone passing by. However, only a very few, specifically scientists, are allowed to enter it. The reason is more than 1 million types of agricultural seeds from all around the world and from different eras are securely stored on the shelves designated for them in the Global Seed Vault in Norway, also known as the Doomsday Vault. The idea of building this vault emerged in 1980, but it was not approved until 2001 under an official charter from the United Nations to open this important backup storage in 2008. This vault, closed to the public, holds, according to the Times, an agricultural history dating back more than 13,000 years and is indeed humanity's only hope in the event of a nuclear war or global disaster that could eliminate all human needs from grains and crops. All countries in the world, without exception and without any restrictions, send seeds to this vault. The purpose is to preserve copies of these seeds for use in case any type is cut off, thereby maintaining a safe agricultural cycle. Gene banks, as they are called, or seeds, are almost present in all countries of the world, but this vault or storage is the central one. Indeed, the keepers of this vault have sent seeds to countries that have suffered from wars or natural disasters, most notably Syria and the Philippines, among others. These countries replanted these seeds in their lands and then sent samples and seedlings of these seeds back to the global seed vault again. The reason for keeping the vault closed to the public, I believe, is clear: to preserve the safety of the old and new seeds and grains until the time of their use, which we hope will not be catastrophic and soon for humanity. From the North Pole to the Asian continent, specifically to one of its most isolated countries, North Korea. This country, which is controversial and shrouded in mystery from various aspects, is famous for a certain room. Yes, a room. Of course, the term room might be metaphorical due to the scarcity of documented information from inside North Korea. It's not possible to ascertain whether Room 39 is a room, an office, a building, or even an organization. However, what is known is that Room 39 is the reason for the luxurious life lived by the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and the elite surrounding him. In this room, according to sources not disclosed for security reasons, all legitimate and illegitimate businesses are conducted, and war plans and weapons manufacturing, among other things, are managed. Room 39 was established in the 1970s by Kim Il-sung, the founding father of North Korea. This room is literally the primary source of foreign funds for North Korea, which is known to be under severe sanctions that prevent many sources of import, export, and other financial revenues. For example, North Korean gold exits from this room to China, where it is sold as Chinese gold, and of course the sales money will certainly return to North Korea and so on. Even drugs, whether manufactured in various forms or traded, have a share of the activities managed in this secret room. Of course, as mentioned before, it is not possible to ascertain the truth of this room from any aspect. We move on to the Atlantic Ocean, specifically to its north. There, an island that has only been stepped on by a very few experienced and knowledgeable scientists, Surtsey Island, near the southern coasts of Iceland. Why all this isolation and precaution? Simply because, according to scientists, this island is the newest island in the world. A series of explosions that began on November 14, 1963, accompanied by ash and other metals, and for almost 3 years, resulted in the formation of this island. This island is the first volcanic island that scientists have been able to study its entire life cycle from the beginning. Thus, for them, it is somewhat like a 100% natural laboratory. Therefore, and primarily to protect this scientific treasure, the Icelandic government has prohibited human visits to this island. Of course, except for selected scientists and with prior permission and at specific times. Of course, even scientists' visits require very precise preparations. The equipment must be transported with extreme precision, without causing any harm to the island's soil, especially any fuel leaks. Scientists cannot bring any type of animals with them, or even plant seeds. Therefore, they must undergo thorough and complete inspection of themselves and their clothes to prevent them from transferring any trace of animal or plant remains from outside the island to it. All waste produced must be returned with them, without leaving anything behind, so as not to conflict with the ecological cycle the island is experiencing. Indeed, many discoveries have been recorded by scientists about the beginning of animals colonizing this island and the plants that began to root in the island's soil. It seems that the isolation and ban here serve the interest of science and knowledge specifically, and in the hope that the life cycle on this island will be completed, and it will be possible to visit it and see the birth of the newest islands in the world. And now we return to the United States, and this time to Dulce, New Mexico. This small town with a population that does not exceed 3,000, most of whom, if not all, are indigenous people. A town like this, there is nothing in it that calls for preventing tourists and visitors from entering it. However, according to many sources like Discovery Channel and CBS and others, this town, specifically a certain location in it, is under strict guard and is considered one of the most forbidden places in the United States and the world. The reason is a secret laboratory under this city for conducting hybridization experiments between humans and animals, and between humans and extraterrestrials. Yes, my friends, as you heard. Of course, the government and the American authorities deny the matter, and the isolation is because the town is a designated area. for the population census, like many other similar areas across the American lands. But this particular area has become famous, unlike others. The story's beginnings, according to the Discovery Channel, go back to the 1930s when rumors began to spread about the existence of a secret base or laboratory under the city. But the topic of hybrid creatures and extraterrestrials actually began in 1970. This year, a former police officer from the New Mexico State Police named Gabe Valdez informed the Santa Fe, New Mexican newspaper about strange and unusual deformities in herds of cattle. In one of the radio interviews, Valdez stated that the evidence left at the site of the mutilated cattle was not from natural predators. Predators do not leave behind gas masks, adhesives, and other tools used in experiments. This man made other claims in various media outlets centered around his sighting of huge black objects in the sky. His most prominent statement was included in a documentary on his channel. Listen to the following. He reported that in his investigation into the mutilated cattle, he discovered a dead cow and its fetus still inside it. But the fetus was not a calf as would be expected. According to Valdez, it was a mixture of humans, monkeys, and frogs, with a head devoid of bones and filled with water. According to Valdez, the cow was nurturing a strange, terrifying alien fetus. Isn't that something? In 1979, a businessman named Paul Benowitz reported being killed in a town near Dulce for receiving electronic signals from a spacecraft near Dulce. By 1980, Benowitz was convinced that the source of these signals was coming from under the town of Dulce, and he began spreading rumors about the existence of a secret underground base inhabited by humans and grey aliens. The news appeared in the local media in 1983 and spread like wildfire among communities that believe in the existence of extraterrestrials. The topic of this base appeared significantly in the 1980s in various visual and audible media, lending the topic a lot of credibility, and people began to believe this story, especially since many people who worked or even lived in the town reported their strange sightings. For example, in 1990, a former police officer who worked in the town of Dulce stated that he saw with his own eyes a spaceship flying over the valley and suddenly disappearing between the rocks. But the most prominent statement about the base or secret laboratory came from Philip Schneider. This man, an experienced explosives engineer who holds a permit to enter the most secret places by the American government, claimed that he helped build a secret base underground. Where do you think? Yes, in Dulce. Schneider did not stop at this statement, but also reported that he witnessed a battle between extraterrestrials living inside the Earth and humans, resulting in the death of 60 humans, according to what he stated, and as reported in a detailed article addressing this topic. Of course, this topic, like many other topics related to secret experiments, hybridization, extraterrestrials, and others, did not receive attention from the American government, and any explanation or justification will certainly be far from what is being circulated strongly among locals and others, just like Area 51 and others. So, the Dulce area and other areas we mentioned remain topics shrouded in mystery, waiting for someone to decipher their codes and reveal the absolute truth someday. So friends, this was what we had in our arsenal about some of the places forbidden for tourists and visitors around the world. Of course, these places and those before them are not the only places that are forbidden to visit, except for the elite of the elite in other places like Snake Island in Brazil, the Enchanting Cave in France and Touré Quiche in China, among others, are also places not open to tourists and the curious for one reason or another. These places and others are the best proof of the extent to which reality intertwines with fiction. And it's certain that the isolation of these places and the ban on visiting them have contributed in one way or another to fueling hypotheses and theories, especially conspiracy theories that try in one way or another to explain the reason for banning some of these places. Who knows, maybe one day, however long it may take, some of the truths about some of these places will be revealed to satisfy our curiosity and settle the ongoing debate around them. Until we meet in a new episode and a new chat, stay safe.